Hello guys, this is the second part of the tutorial of change of state lab report. So here we're going to include the part that will be graded corresponding to the criteria C. Okay, so going back to the experimental procedures, we're going to continue with the data collection and data analysis to each experimental procedure. So for example, the evaporation. Okay, so we are going to include the data collection and data analysis. Okay, for data collection, in the evaporation and also in the condensation, in the freezing, in the sublimation and reverse sublimation, we are going to include a chronogram. Okay, so that will be an example of a chronogram. Okay, chronogram is a graph that represents the change of state in images versus time. So how to do a chronogram? So you insert a graph. The graph must be a dispersion graph. Once you have the dispersion graph, you eliminate the data. Then you click on the graph, you click on the plus sign, and you eliminate the líneas de cuadrícula, and you include the titles of the axes. Okay, now you have the graph, you put the title of the x-axis, that is time, in minutes or seconds, depending the change of state, and the y-axis is the image of change, the image of change of state. Okay, and okay, to change the scale of the x-axis, you click on the axis and you click on dar formato al eje. Here, for example, if we measure the time for 10 minutes, you're going to put the minimum 0 and the maximum 10. The highest unit, I'm going to put 1, and the lowest unit, I'm going to put 1. Okay, so as you can see here, it doesn't appear from 0 to 10. So there is a trick here that you put 0, and when you put 0, automatically it changes. I cannot explain you why, but this is the trick for the 1 to 10, sorry, from 0 to 10 to appear in the x-axis. And here, since we include one picture for every period of time that we consider, you put the minimum 0 and the maximum 1, and the greatest 1 and the lowest 1. Okay, and that will be your y-axis. Okay, and for data analysis, okay, we go to the rubric, and in the rubric it says that the data analysis, you need to use a current knowledge and understanding of science to recognize patterns and draw conclusions from the data. I have currently given a detailed account of how and why the variables are related. So in the data analysis, remember to state what you observed, making reference to the variables. Remember that the variables are time and water, and also the control variables if you consider water and control variables, and include all the information that you consider relevant. Okay, that will be the data analysis. So you will do the same with the other changes of state, but for melting we're going to do a different graph. Okay, so in melting, as you know, we are going to collect data. Okay, we're going to collect temperature versus time. So you will need to include a table. Okay, you will need to include a table. That will be a table that you will have the time. You will have the time, and you will have the temperature. Okay, temperature in degrees, and remember to include, okay, the precision of the measurement. Okay, remember to include the precision of the measurement. So for temperature is plus minus 0.1. That's the precision of our apparatus. And for time, it's in seconds will be 0.1. Okay, 0.1 time in seconds. Sorry, seconds, and it will be also 0.1 seconds. 0.1 seconds. Okay, so here you're going to include the seconds, 30, 60, and in advance, and here the temperature. Okay, 0, 0.5. Okay, once you have the data, we are going to include the graph. So this is the type of graph that we're going to include. Okay, we're going to include a graph where we're going to observe the change of temperature versus time. Okay, here you have the temperature in the y-axis and the time in the x-axis. So how are we going to do this graph? So you're going to insert graph, and this graph will be a linear graph. Linear. So you click aceptar, and you're going to eliminate series 2, series 3. Okay, and you're going to include this is the temperature, and sorry, this is the time. Time is the y-axis, the x-axis, sorry, and this is the temperature in the y-axis. Time in seconds, 30, 60, 90, 120, and the temperature will be in degrees, 0.1, 1.5, 2.6, 3.9. Okay, so no, sorry, time, this is not correct. Temperature, it's here, and time is here. Okay, so temperature is here, 0, no, it's correct, sorry, it's correct. Now that we have the graph, okay, we are going to do the analysis. For doing the analysis, okay, it's the same than before, the analysis, and you need to include what you consider important. Okay, once we have done the data collection, the analysis, we do the conclusion. So looking at the rubric, in the conclusion, to obtain the maximum grade, you have evaluated your hypothesis. You need to validate your hypothesis by weighing up the strengths and limitations of the data you collected, and you have used the data to clearly state if your hypothesis has been supported or not. Use scientific reasoning and sources to help to explain your reasons. So in your conclusion, you need to validate your hypothesis. Remember, your hypothesis was that you were going to observe a change of state when changing the temperature. Okay, and you can support your conclusion with examples of other sources or any other experiments you search on internet. Okay, after conclusion, you're going to do the evaluation. Okay, you're going to evaluate You're going to evaluate the method of the method. You're going to evaluation of the limitations and improvements. And finally, future research using the same methods. Okay, so evaluation of the method, as always, you explain of the methods used. You explain if you consider that the methods used were correct, and if you will use another method for doing a change of state in a different way. You can explain also in the limitations and improvements here the limitations that we have. For example, in the freezing, we couldn't do the freezing at school, and also the sublimation and the reverse sublimation, that we had to do the sublimations in a different way that it's not the correct way. But since we don't have a really powerful source of heat, we did it using the frying pan. And since we don't have a liquid nitrogen, we use the freezer for putting the balloon inside the freezer for 24 hours for doing the sublimation. In the future research, using the same methods, here do some research and try to include any future experiments or future methods that you will use for doing this experiment. Now, once you have done the evaluation, to do the bibliography, and in the bibliography, remember to use APA citation. Okay, for APA citation, if you go to the rubric, okay, here in the rubric, you have a link. If you click on the link, okay, the rubric will be included in ManageBack. If you click on the link, okay, the link will take you to a website where you have all the information, okay, APA formatting and style guide, okay. You have all the information to correctly cite in APA, okay. APA for books, for electronic sources, for non-print sources. So here you have all the information to cite correctly in APA. And that's all for the lab report. So guys, I think you can have a good grade in this lab report. So thank you for paying attention, and good luck with your lab reports. Bye bye.